Yeah, fucking Star Wars is back, baby.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host, Chris, and I'm here with my pirate crew. Oh ho, oh ho, oh ho. And how you doing today, Mike and James?
I am good. I'm glad we get to talk about the best Star Wars show ever.
We do that just so we can get James to do one of those facial expressions, so Mike can
That's
put
right.
it right on
He
the
did it
cover.
right on cue.
Man, well played, well played.
He's not wearing headphones to like take off his head and throw to the ground,
Damn.
Oh yeah, classic
but
throwback.
yeah.
That bad boy in there.
That was like your favorite meme for like a year.
It was. Slow
Everything
motion
we
film
watched, I think,
with
used
that
to be.
Middle Eastern vocal artist singing in the background.
All right. So we're back on our Star Wars bullshit, and we are here to talk Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew is the new 8-episode Disney Plus series that just ended, just had the finale. Written by none other than John Watts and Christopher Ford, who are both from Spider-Man Homecoming. You'd know them.
Yep.
There was also a third writer in the group that I hadn't heard of, Mi Young Jo Wesner. And I looked up her IMDb just because I was interested. And she wrote Death and Other Details, which was a 2023, it was a cool mystery series that I watched, but it got canceled. There's a bunch of cool 2023, 2024 series that got canceled that I was very upset at. But
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what she does next because I really like that series. And it's just weird because they will both have like 6 episodes or 8 episodes in their writing credits, and then like this third person just has 2 episodes. I don't know why they brought her in for 5 and 6 if they were stuck or if they needed something, but interesting. I wish I really understood more about the writing thing with series, like, and when they choose to have multiple writers, when they choose to have like a single
Oh,
writer.
that's a question we should have asked
Amanda?
from Severance.
Yeah.
Amanda Overton. Shame on us.
Try to get her
Amanda,
back
if you're
on. Maybe
watching.
she's listening. I would love to talk to anybody. If you're watching this and you're a professional writer in any capacity, give us a heads up. I would love.
Our
to
other buddy too, who writes those books.
Yes,
one of our first
Adam
interviews.
Lance Garcia.
Oh yes, Adam Lance Garcia.
He would know.
He's a producer and writer. Yes, that might be interesting. I don't know if he's written series. I knew he's written books, and
I thought he worked on some shows too, didn't he?
Yeah, there was.
He's a producer for who interviews
Talk show.
Variety.
Yeah, but he was writing some books too. That was a series format.
That would be interesting to anybody.
Anyway,
Seriously, if you're a professional in the entertainment industry, if you do art, if you do writing, if you do producing, we'd love to talk to you. That'd be awesome.
We're not begging, but we would love it.
No, for fun, for education. What was the games called? They were Funcation. No, that's not right.
Edutainment.
Edutainment. That's the one.
Yeah.
No, at all.
All right. Anyway, back to Star Wars. Skeleton Crew. We're gonna keep this relatively short. We're not gonna go into heavy detail on the individual series or characters. It's a late night and we are old. So, but
look, let's just get it out of the way. This was right up James's alley because it's all about kid actors,
and that's James's favorite thing.
And that's his favorite thing, right?
Only if it was a musical would he love it.
You know what? These 4, including I don't know, some sort of animatronic puppet. These 4 young actors, performers, whatever, weren't as terrible as typically their generation.
Okay, that's high praise. I don't know if you guys know. This is high praise.
Yeah, I'm gonna give credit to the performance, not the writing or the script some of these kids had to read out. Or the script story that made no sense. But as far as on-screen performances, I've seen worse. Last year alone, 2024. I know we're doing our end of the year. Should be out any moment. But yeah, it was not right up my alley. Like Mike is too. Um, I know typically Chris, you'd ask what was my impression going into the show, whatever trailers.
Well,
I
it's like
think
we've done this before.
yeah, I think before I actually saw the first trailer, when I heard that Disney was releasing a skeleton crew and they had like they didn't show Drew Law's face, but like a little smuggler pirate
Mm-hmm.
caricature. I was thinking, oh, this is more like a smuggling Han Solo skeleton crew, like the Bad Batch, but instead of like former stormtroopers, they're all like a criminal gang. Then the first trailer dropped, and I'm like, oh shit, this is Goonies, Star Wars. Ugh. So I had a huge pivot,
Mm-hmm.
and then we watched the show, and here we are, uh, talking about our
Okay.
feelings.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, for me, I was more hoping it was more going to be Lost in Space with kids, like
Mm-hmm.
hopping from place to place,
Interesting.
trying to get home. Like, and you hop on a new planet. There's a new adventure, right?
And they kind of did
Yeah, they
that.
did it once or twice, and then that
Mm.
was it. I was more hoping for that. If you want to make an ongoing series, like
I
Lost in
think
Space.
there's a
Interesting.
problem right now with a lot of these companies, specifically Disney is doing this quite often, is they want everything to just be a limited series. They're like
mm,
afraid to put the money and the talent, well, they got some talent, but anyway, they were afraid to put it on the line and say this is going to be a 3-season series. Write it that way. We have the money, we have the time, we have the universe, we have the IP. Just do it. Like I'm sick of the we'll give you 8 episodes and let's see how popular it is if we do anything else with it.
yeah.
Like if you're doing that, just do a movie. Do a movie of it, do it on Disney Plus. It's the same thing.
Mm,
So it's nothing to do with maybe this series and how I feel about it. It's more of a general idea of all of the series that Disney has released around their major IPs have been this tippy toe in the water. Maybe we'll do more if we feel like we're getting the views kind of bullshit. And I think it's
But Chris,
hurting the shows.
I want to sharpen your point more.
Mm-hmm.
You're tiptoeing around it. I think it does have to do specifically with this series because of the way it ended in the finale. It gave you like the feeling of like, oh shit, they're hedging whether they're getting a season two or not because
Mm-hmm.
it's half-ass written to tie up the plot of season one, but you're also giving me all of these non-answers and new questions
Mm-hmm.
to say, oh, in case we have a season two, this is where we might go. And I'm like, no, that's terrible. Like you're half stepping. Half.
Yeah. So I mean, in general, let's put it this way: the show it comes out in the style of the '80s Amblin Entertainment kids movies that we grew up with. Okay, Goonies, E.T., all of the above. Uh, we
Perfect point.
we've seen this done really well with Stranger Things. Came out a couple years ago. It nailed the
hmm
tone and it nailed being a little bit more on the horror side. It didn't just try to do Amblin. It said, okay, we're going to take some things from, Gremlins, and we're going to take some things from Freddy Krueger, and we're gonna more 80s rather than less. And
hmm
this one, it felt like, okay, we got the Goonies setup, we got the Goonies tone, but that's where we're gonna stop things. It's very 2024. Everybody's not insult the entire generation.
Uh oh.
Things are a little softer than
Softer.
maybe
Cupcakes.
you
Yeah.
know you know
Cupcake generation.
they're like we talk about on NBA chat with how often they're putting guys on the bench. It's like resting your players when you unneeded. It's just it feels a bit soft, and a lot about the '80s entertainment is if you go back and watch that, those kids are mean.
Those kids are going through real life trauma.
you know, and none of that. And there was a few times where they tried to get Jod, who is the adult
Antagonist.
in the group.
Oh, okay.
You know, you know, we told everybody we're gonna have some spoilers, but so Jod is
Yeah.
he's with them and then he's an antagonist, which I liked. I liked that character quite a bit. I liked where they went with him. I liked that story point. Um, but I just felt like they didn't do the kids as much of they did a lot of disservice to the kids' characters with like what Mike was saying. They didn't let them explore enough. They didn't let them be the pilot, the tech, the dreamer, the pacifist, the whiner, the elephant. I guess he got to do that the most.
Yeah, there was so much potential for fear and tension as kids lost
Mm-hmm.
in space, and then growing as you're learning new skills, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole
So
point of the
right,
genre,
right. It's coming of age movie. It's supposed to be a coming of age thing.
right? And each one has a skill that's supposed to get drawn out as they go through the
Right.
adventure.
Yeah.
The pilot's supposed to pilot. When the first what was it the second episode when he puts the blue kid in the pilot seat, I went, what the fuck is going on?
The blue kid, Neil.
Neil, Neil, sorry.
This mother freaker said the blue
I'm
kid.
sorry. I'm not as much of a Neil fan
Damn, racist much?
Wow. The xenophobe or whatever.
I'm not as much of a
Go
Neil
back to your
fan
country,
as
Neil.
everybody else seems to be.
Come back to your farm.
I mean, do you guys think? And I don't want to hammer on this because I did like the kids' general performances. I think when they were given the chance and they were given the material, they performed. And,
Which they rarely got. So
and
yes.
Yeah.
the tone and just they just couldn't. They didn't want to put the kids in what I felt like was real danger, where the kids had to figure out how to get out of it.
First major X.
So I just felt like they were gotten out of danger quite a bit by all
You
the
I
know,
think
kids.
the only sense of real danger was on
The garbage heap.
the yeah, yeah, when they got trapped there, and then the two kids were climbing and all that stuff on the
Mm-hmm.
Club Med Island
yeah,
planet, whatever it was.
Summit Island, the Jabba the Hutt, whatever that thing
Yeah.
is. Let me isolate for a bit. Um, this show, we already talked about the actors, and these kids did. I think they did pretty well considering what they had, which was trash. The story, the plot, the antagonist of Jude Law's character John, and everything else that had to do with the story, which started from the first episode of they're lost in space, which would have been a better show, Hop
Hmm.
Planet. But now they immediately want to get back home, and how the journey going to bring them back home to this mysterious planet. None of that stuff mattered at the end. It was just a big hoopla about nothing. It just felt like this particular show was a catapult to to get us younger Disney Plus Star Wars subscribers.
Mm.
Well, yeah, that's
The
what
animated
their
shows are
job is.
done. The live action shows are still they're not really geared towards an all inclusive audience. That means like people our age and older,
See,
including young teens. Like
I don't know.
just speaking to my son's generation, they're not really focused on Star Wars anymore. And
No,
I'm
they're
pretty
not.
sure the generation below them are also not focused on Star Wars as an IP. So I think this was Disney's, means and methods of getting a show that's dedicated to this audience that no longer
Mm-hmm.
exists or doesn't exist as it used to be in the early 2000s. And to me, it was just pandering. Like the story and plot mattered in the first episode, and by the time we get to the finale, it didn't really matter. It was just another platform or story device to put these characters in these little funny, quirky situations and let them do their little thing and somehow resolve the situation until the next episode. And the threat that you see at the conclusion of one episode that was supposed to be a cliffhanger was like thrown aside immediately in the beginning of the next episode, which was the worst example, was the finale, where prior to that, the lightsaber comes out and you're thinking of Anakin and Younglings, and then the very opening scene, he withdraws a lightsaber 2 seconds later. This show is not serious. The plot's not serious. The action's not serious. Like the little moments in space, none of that is serious. This was a terribly executed show, probably with a decent concept of creating a younger generation of Star Wars fans and put them in a little 80s Goonies Amblin Entertainment style. Andor was a risk. Before Andor, there was no show like that. That was a political thriller action movie. It took a risk and it worked. This show was going to be another risk, but the execution of this show, and I don't know who's involved, director, writers, whatever, every one of them failed. Script writers, they all failed. That's all I have to say.
I won't go as harsh as that. I'm giving this a lot of shit, but I did overall enjoy watching the show. But
I did too.
I do agree with James in specifically that they didn't allow the kids to be in danger long enough. They didn't allow them the character growth necessary. And the place I saw it in the finale was specifically that they did not follow the kids' archetypes that they built in the finale. So you got Neil, who in one episode was the big thing was he was going to put down the guns. He doesn't think we should use them. He's kind of a pacifist, and he's like, "I'm going to jump in the big giant
gun.
in the big giant thing and shoot at the pirates." Like, and it's not a big deal. It's not like it's made like, oh, he has to do this or his friends are gonna die, so he's got to overcome his passes. None of that. It's just Neil is the character who can't run. So how do we separate him from the group? Okay, he's gonna walk up and shoot the gun, right? The character that's supposed to be the pilot doesn't pilot. She's supposed to be the leader. She doesn't lead. She's just begging her mom to save her.
Which they did. The parents saved
the parents save the kids, which is not supposed to how it's supposed to go. And then when he drops the lightsaber, the kid who's been dying to be a Jedi. Okay, I get it. He's not ready in episode 4 or 5, and he drops the lightsaber. I get that. But now this is supposed to be the finale. He's supposed to step up to the plate and do something cool with the lightsaber.
Take out some droids at least, something, yeah. Not necessarily kill Jude Law, but
no, like maybe he slices the handle,
the barrier control, right? Yeah,
anything. Do something with it, but no, he doesn't do anything with it.
So, so I've been thinking about this show, and it reminds me so much of a Die Hard villain. Because if you think about Die Hard villains, they have these elaborate schemes and traps and diversions and sleight of hand, but in the end, it was all about stealing money. And that's all this was too, right? So,
and I don't mind that. I like Jod as a character. I like that he is a Jedi dropout. He's kind of lost in that. I thought for sure he wasn't going to be an actual Force user. I thought he was faking it the whole time. I thought he had some sort of like magnetic glove that he was grabbing things with, and he was just faking it the whole time. But he wasn't. And I wish they had made. I wish Neil, right? The kid was Neil. Not Neil. What's the name? What's the
Wim.
Yeah. I wish he had forced Jude Law's character to make the decision to kill the dad. I know sounds horrible.
Like, I know what you're getting at.
Force him into. I can't, read him like he's a Jedi. Read him and force the hand. And that's a more interesting, tension-filled, dangerous situation that they refuse to put the kids into.
Yeah.
And to add on to that point, I think one of the major flaws with Jod's character is not only was he not forced to make a decision to pick a side, in conclusion to the show, to even the final scene, he never actually went any direction. He wasn't the true villain because there were so many opportunities he had just to kill one of the kids or the parents. It was so annoying watching the finale when it was like, "Don't you do that? Okay, don't you do that? Definitely gonna kill her this time. Okay, I'm gonna kill him now. Why did you do that? That was so annoying." So at the conclusion, not only did the characters not drive him to a certain, path, he himself as a character ended up nowhere. He
That's
wasn't
true.
a true villain. He wasn't even a true pirate. When you think of it, it was just a character that was just there as like a foil for the kids throughout the entire show. But that character itself became empty by the end. Oh,
Yeah,
man,
it's tough. I like the AT-AT thing. I like the planet with all the money. I like the pirates. The ships were
the
awesome.
New Jersey looking planet, yes.
The ships were awesome. I liked the pirate den. I liked the dead planet version. Like all of that, all the aesthetics of Star Wars worked and was done very well. And the general plot outline and idea around the show works for me. I like the themes. I like the Amblin entertainment thing, but it's the whole characters just like James was saying, never forced to be the character good, bad, ugly. They refused to do what the 80s did, which was sometimes somebody got hurt
Yeah.
and then you had to deal with that. Even if you're not killing the kids, even if you're not pulling an Anakin Skywalker here, um, people can get hurt and it can be your fault and it can do something for the kids, right?
Hmm.
Agreed. Yep. Man, the 80s were great. Well, no, no, no. Hold on. Let me take that back. Parts of the 80s are great.
I don't know, Mike. Was there anything that stuck out to you? Let's before we do our grades.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think this is the first Disney show or movie where I didn't really care about the droid.
Oh, really? You didn't like
Yes.
the
You're
Yeah, I
little
didn't.
droid?
right. This was
He
the
was a terrible
least.
droid.
He
At
was
first,
all
I thought
right.
it was interesting. The first episode,
Yeah,
it just became like a running side joke. Even in
yeah.
the finale, he's like, you think he's dead, which would have some sort of gravitas, right? The one character that gets killed that is on the good side, and then he's back, but he's like missing pieces. Oh, and speaking of droids, the fucking supervisor
Oh,
that
right.
was almost as bad as Palpatine and his machinations and
No,
Rise of Skywalker.
I thought that was a. I was like, oh, okay. So what is this? What does this mean? Because the supervisor seems to be thinking almost like he's an Empire droid. He's like the Jedi are evil, and I'm like, oh, what's that gonna do to the story? And it doesn't do anything, of course.
He's not an Empire droid. He's a
Yeah.
droid that was left over in the Republic. And remember, Palpatine was the Senate majority leader. I forgot the Chancellor, Senate majority leader.
Droid leader.
Which
Mitch
interesting,
Palpatine.
interesting. But no, so he's still following orders that was left over from the old Republic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Nothing to
Right.
do with the
That's
Empire.
what that's. I don't know. I
But
mixed.
to me, would have been more interesting if you gave us like an Oz like figure who actually knows what's happening, like Silo, the IT guy. Give me
Mm.
a guy like that who's pretending to be this all powerful droid. In reality, he doesn't even know what's happening outside of the planet. He's just been following his last set of orders and getting everybody else. That would have been again
But the thing is
another
too, like,
story for season two.
Mhm.
but the thing is too, we have been following Star Wars for a long time, all of us,
Mhm.
and we know how droids are treated in this galaxy. There's no
Slavery,
way they would let a droid be in charge of the planet.
no way.
That's
Not
true.
There's
even
no
in the
That's
old
an
way.
Republic.
interesting
Nope.
point. See, what I was hoping they'd do with the droid is when he got his head cut off, I thought, oh, you know what'd be interesting is if the tech girl like basically put him in the ship and made hit the ship,
Like in Solo.
yeah, the solo idea. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God,
that's
no.
interesting because then they have
Trash
because
begets
he
trash.
had all of the data, all of his pirate
Yeah.
data in there of all the universe, and I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, that'll be interesting. She's gonna like he'll be like a
Integrate.
head on like put his head on the front, and so he can talk, and he'd be funny, but he would be like the navigator.
Damn,
No,
Chris, you're making the show way better already.
but that would be off-putting to have that head
You know who
like.
did the voice of
No.
SM33? The
Yeah,
it's the guy from Hot
Nick,
Fuzz.
Nick Frost. Yeah,
Yeah, he's the partner of the main guy who's getting
Simon.
Simon. Yeah,
Hmm.
he did the
Interesting.
voice. Interesting. But go ahead. Sorry, Chris. Tangent there.
No, I mean, I just think it's one of those shows where I see so many opportunities, and I'm enjoying it too in general, but all of the
Hmm.
specifics are missing. Like I'm like, oh, this is gonna be cool, and then it's like, oh, oh, this is
Not,
gonna be cool. Oh, okay.
and it's not.
Like I just I
Cool
see so much
idea. Ah, fuck.
potential, and I
Did it.
want it to be good. I want Star Wars to be reignited in the
Hmm.
general, with the kids, because my kids don't really give a shit about Star Wars either. I'm like the only person in the house who really, I mean, they'll go with me. I take them to see it whenever it's in the theater. They'll go with me to see, you know it's all Return to the Jedi in the theater, and they enjoy that, but it's not something they actively participate in outside of that. And I think, like James said, they Disney is trying to reignite this with younger audiences, and that's not a bad thing. That's what you're supposed to do.
But
That's
Not
their
it's
a
not,
bad
but
thing.
it's
It's a
not
But
job.
necessary.
execute.
It's not necessary.
Oh, I think. Well,
It
first of
is,
all,
because
I
then you
think it's
want to make
necessary.
money
No,
with
it's
it.
not,
Look,
dude. When you first got into Star Wars, how old were you?
time out.
And it
Those,
wasn't
those,
about
those, those
kids.
days are over. You're thinking of the days of
But
long.
this is not
The old
working either.
No, it's not working. But to Chris's point is, first of all, yes, it is imperative for Disney to get this younger audience that they lost.
No,
Financial
I know that's the
money
point.
argument
But
right there.
mm,
Now, to your point about it's not necessary, I disagree only because the way stories are told these days, and even in MCU, Marvel, and most of these giant IPs, is you do have characters that are written in a script that's going to relate to a younger audience automatically, although the content may be a little bit more mature. Now, when you're at Disney, you have multiple, media conglomerates. You're going to pump out, yes, you have your Pixars and your animated movies are dedicated solely for the younger audience, but then you want these larger ones to be like the Marvel Phase 1 in Phase Two movies, where yeah, you drop a freaking Captain America movie, and then outside the movie there's a bunch of 7-year-olds running around with the Captain America shield, and it's 40, 50-year-olds with the comics talking about yeah, those days are they're gone. Like you're not. We're so tribal now. It's if you're gonna Captain Marvel 2 movie, it's gonna be a very specific group of people going to see that movie. And
hmm
Disney, they can't rely on that old formula, so they're using. I think trying to give him credit for what could have been in this show is yes, you get a show that's centered around younger audience characters that's gonna you might get your older audience, and if you don't, that's fine. But you want to create this niche to get these young folks back. That was the idea, but they did not execute it as far as talent, story, all that stuff. So yeah, I think it was needed. It was gonna be if it had worked, we would have been talking a whole different tune right now. Like this Star
You know,
Wars is back.
I
If
don't
we had
even.
Andor, the younger version of Andor, we'd have been like, yeah, fucking Star Wars is back, baby.
So what's a
mm.
question? Like, what is popular with 7 to 12-year-olds at this point? I don't know. This is something that's beyond me. I don't know what they're watching, except maybe Mr. Beast. Like, it's what's the I sound so fucking old. The video game with all the characters from all the different IPs.
Which one? Fortnite.
Fortnite. So
Fortnite, yeah.
so the kid in that age group that I know is 100% living in Fortnite,
Hmm.
you know. And but that's just like a generic place for other IPs to be. Like that's not the specific Fortnite characters are a little like whatever. So is video games the only way to get modern kids? Is YouTube personality the only way
Yeah,
to
but
get modern kids?
you
Like
you,
how
you
does
raise a,
Star
you
Wars
raise a
do
good
it?
point, but Disney has enough power where they can release a game based on any one of their IPs and craft a live action or animated movie to market the hell out of that stuff. I'm not saying we need to do that for Star Wars because they have forces, they have all types of Star Wars. And Mike would know better than I do. all types of games of Star Wars characters that people, and I go on certain Reddit forums and they're like, "Oh man, they should have used this character from this video game for the
Well,
for Acolyte instead of this."
don't forget they for Rise of Skywalker, the Palpatine transmission went through Fortnite.
Fortnite, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The kids knew about it before we did.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Disney can do it, and I think you don't need to be video game or TikTok or whatever the other stuff that's capturing 7 to 13 year olds right now. Just come up with a decent story and some interesting characters, and you're gonna get at least a good portion of most of the generation.
I think they have to stop. For me, my suggestion, if they were to listen to me, would be to stop hedging with these things and put your
That
money
too.
and your time into it. Say, look, we're not going to do these limited 8 episode, maybe series.
I'm with you. I'm with
Write
you.
a real story that has time and growth, and let your characters do the talking. But do it. Just do 3 seasons, or do 15 episodes, or do a movie. Like, make a freaking movie. Release it in the theaters.
That's what they're afraid of, not making the money in the theater. So, right?
Yeah, I think Star Wars out of any major property, DC, MCU, Star Trek, they're the most feared of their fans.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
say what you say about the Snyderverse,
Uh-huh.
Civil War with DC, or Marvel's war right now we're having with the wokeness, or actually Star Trek is not really. Yeah, there is some Star Trek dissension, but nothing is in comparison to Star Wars fandom when that shit goes off.
Mm-hmm.
That changes companies.
Well,
Companies crap.
and there you're sitting on an already bifurcated audience. It's not like you have to wait for the next thing to release to know what the audience is 100% like split right now at all times. If you go on any social media and you put on any Star Wars opinion, you get one of two things. You get complete hate or 100% adoration. Like, that's it. There's like no people who know. There's very few people who want to do, general enjoyment discussion kind of
Like
thing.
centrist politicians.
Yeah, basically.
Well, that's why I like that
The-
Generation Tech
the,
guy.
the
Like that
hated
guy.
the
You sent
hated
that video today.
progressives of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, that Generation Tech guy. Although I found some of his videos to be a little bit boring. But
Yeah, he can ramble
and
sometimes.
then he goes into it, he gives you his thoughts, and some you kind of think he's leaning one way or another, but he's just more about the data and the information. There's he's probably the best neutral Star Wars site that's out there, because then you have your Star Wars theory in one end, and then you have I love everything that comes out of Star Wars. Oh my god, can't wait to bite the merchandise. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't buy any Star Wars merchandise. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was paraphrasing Chris there earlier.
No, I get it, and like I said, I think this has potential. If they want to, they just release another season and up your ante and put a little bit more effort into the fact that I think you need to let what can attract a kid is not them having to have their parents save them. I'm going to tell you right now, as a kid, you don't want to watch a kid whose parents have to save them.
Yes, my parents were right all along.
It's got to be the other way around.
Oh, look, my dorky dad is cool. I
Yeah.
didn't know. Like, that's not what I wanted to see when I was 10. Right?
Oh, what does the dad tell him? Guess you don't have to take the assessment now.
Yeah.
That's the least of my issues right now.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, there's a lot they can do, but you've kind of lost the whole, hey, these kids get lost in space adventure, which is what I was more expecting, like Mike said. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, they're going to be at Lost, and then, a couple seasons from now they'll find their way back. But no, like, they were able to find their way back in, like, one season. I don't know what took everybody else so long finding Anne.
So I was telling you guys that one show, Star Trek Prodigy, is also animated, which is about kids finding a starship and getting lost in the galaxy, and it's way better. It's done so well. Um, so I think that's what Star Wars is trying to do here and failed, or I don't know. They just missed the market.
Failed.
I think they just, again, they're doing this 2025. Oh, we don't really want to put kids in danger or make them feel truly scared,
Soft.
or
Soft.
yeah,
Say it.
soft. And maybe it's not the kids, maybe it's the people up making decisions going, I think the kids, soften it for the kids, soften it
Yep.
for the kids,
Nope.
soften it for the kids.
You said it.
As much or more than it is the kids themselves. Because the kids aren't responding to it. Because it's not like you're seeing this make huge rounds with younger audiences, right?
Yep.
But I'd be interested in some data as to see what is the most popular media and IP among kids these days. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's 90% video games. And
Video games. Yeah.
Mm.
Call of Duty, I know, is definitely.
yeah, but
Not for 7 to 12 year olds, no.
Oh no, not for
Yeah,
them.
you're thinking. So you got to think more Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite, like you were saying earlier.
Hey, the Minecraft movie's supposed to be coming out.
That's true. Jack Black.
God.
That looks terrible, by the way.
Yes.
All right, I guess we got to grade them, grade the show.
Yeah, you get to go first.
I get to go
Yeah.
first. And I really wanted to give it a B minus. I really did. I think it's such good ideas are sitting in this thing, such high possibilities. But as we talk about how it kind of failed the characters, and I like the characters, but I think the show failed the characters, and it has to go C plus. And I think they can go. I think they can do much better. I can't just give it because I love the Star Wars universe, so I love being in it, and I love starships, and I love cool planets and
Pew
good makeup.
pew.
Like I can't just give it free grade for that. Like I need more. So I guess I gotta go C plus, which is still better than a lot of the other Disney shows, Disney Star Wars shows that we've seen recently. Or it's about the same.
Probably about the same.
About the same. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna go next because I pretty much agree with you. I'm also gonna go C plus. I was thinking about B minus as well, but yeah, it didn't land this one again. The show didn't land. So if we get a season two,
I can't believe they had the kids freak out over KB's landing when it didn't explode.
Yeah.
God, dude.
I was like, why are
I
you
was
crying?
like, first of all, I knew she was not gonna die. I was like, no way to
I
keep.
know
Yeah,
that,
they're
but
not gonna.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
She's
she
not
landed.
dying
That's
here.
great. And then she started
not dying
screaming, and I was
here.
like, what are you
She's
doing?
not, and then in fact, not only she's not dying here, they'll give me this fake ass nothing exploded scene, and she's yelling, "No, KB!"
Right, exactly. And KB's my favorite character. Like, I'm like, oh, good, she's fine. She did a great job. She landed.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how she used the robot to fly instead of flying herself. That's using the kid's talent that you set up to do the thing.
Right. Exactly.
The one person who got to do it. All right, James. Sorry to sidetrack everybody.
I think I know to answer our question before. If it's not Roblox or Minecraft or sports, it's Spider Man.
Mm-hmm.
7 to 10 year olds.
Yeah.
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 Dude, I'm going with a D. This show.
Not
I think when I going into the finale, I had it at like a C minus. Because the seventh episode intrigued me.
It was a good episode.
It was a good episode.
Right.
Best episode actually.
The pilot piloted.
And then by the end, and then the tension at the end, like, oh shit, it's about to go down right now. There's no turning back.
Right.
And then the big misdirection. Yeah, man, it's a D. It was a failure. I'm not.
Yeah, honestly, when the credits rolled at the end, I was kind of like,
I was waiting for
"What?"
something, and then they showed you these little animations of like Jedi fighters or whatever, and I'm like, oh
Which
yeah.
had there was
And
no
then
root to
Disney
the
Plus
show.
kicked me in my balls. The big Andor Play Next comes on. It was a small little
If
box,
you
and then a small little box of credits still rolling for a fucking skeleton crew. I was like, fuck you,
if
Disney.
you like Skeleton Crew, we think you'll like Andor.
It's like if you like this cereal box, you will
That's right. Did
like.
did you like for your Frosted Flakes? Here's some Raisin Bran.
Like, what the fuck? Fuck you,
Raisins are
Kellogg.
sugary, right?
Fuck you, Kellogg Company. And fuck you, Disney Plus.
Might as well get some all brand or grape nuts.
Dude, you put some sugar on some grape nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like honey bun? Well, try some kale.
All right.
Made from the same company.
All right, let's
All
get
right.
out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here. I'm sorry. I feel like I was a lot more harsh than I intended when I was originally writing my review, and I
No,
just
your heart was speaking then. Now it's whatever Heroes Peak professional facade massage.
hey, if we think some, we're trying to be honest with you on our feelings. It's not about being hateful. It's about being honest about the product that we
Yeah,
saw.
we're also not getting any checks from Star Wars
No, no, we're not.
Lucasfilm.
Look, I will say Skeleton Crew is better than Craven. So,
I
Wow,
would agree with
I'm
that.
definitely not watching Graven.
no, you have to now because we have to do the villain verse.
It was also
That
better
means I have
than
to watch Venom
Megalopolis
3 also
and
then. That's
Joker
two
and
more.
Yeah,
Gotta
I
watch
saw Venom 3 last night, and Venom 3 was way better than Craven.
like getting kicked in the balls twice.
yeah, I guess I have to watch Venom 3 to finish off the Spider-Man list first.
God, this is my dry January. Don't do this to me.
All
All
right.
right, guys. All right, Mike, where can people find us to tell us why the next thing that Star Wars produces will be great?
As usual, all over the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, sometimes TikTok.
Red Note,
You
Red
do
One.
not Red Note. YouTube. I guess we're coming to. I don't know. We'll find something, but we'll be there.
That's what
And then you should like and subscribe and leave a comment
The
and let us know.
CGI metaverse.
Yeah,
We're gonna open a Heroes Peak store.
that's right. And let us know what you thought of Skeleton Crew. Would you think Disney's going in the right direction? Tell us what you think they need to do to get better.
And to get the kids on board because that's what they need to do.
Right.
Yep.
All right, thank you guys for joining me. We will see you next week.
All right. Good night.
Night.
Right.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.